Hi everyone, SpiderMan 1991 here with my top 5 comics that I enjoyed this month, September 2013. I switched my reviews from weekly to monthly, and when I was thinking about the monthly videos, I realized that I have a lot of comics, so I decided to just narrow it down to my top 5, just to make it a little more compact. And also, this month was interesting because all the DC books were pretty much Villains Month issues, so I really didn't feel like nothing really stood out for me in that category. I did do a Villains Month video, which I should have an annotation somewhere around here. Anyways, so just giving you a heads up, this list is about like 80% Marvel, so let's get started with number 5. Superior Spider-Man, issues 17 and 18. Yeah, I decided to count both issues just to represent the series. Anyways, this is parts 1 and 2 of the story arc where Spider-Man 2099 meets the Superior Spider-Man, who's Doc Ock and Peter Parker's body. Pretty much, in 2099, Tiberius Stone, who's the CEO of Alchem X, is about to be erased from history, so Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, goes back in time to figure out... No, wait, Tyler Stone's from 2099. Tiberius is his the one we've been seeing appear in Amazing Spider-Man and also Superior Spider-Man. Pretty much, Spider-Man 2099 goes back because he can't, even though Tyler Stone's evil, he doesn't want him erased from history because he is Miguel's biological father. Because if he goes, Miguel goes. So he goes, and right when Spider-Man 2099 comes to the present, Horizon Labs is actually undergoing investigations for hazardous materials because of all the incidents that have been surrounding it, and pretty much ever since Dan Slott introduced it, the lizard attacks, the Spider Island, everything. And like every single disaster that's been involved with Horizon Labs has been brought to everyone's attention. People want action, and the person behind all this is, of course, is recurring character Tiberius Stone, who is actually working with Alchem, the chemical company owned by Liz Allen, ex-wife of Harry Osborn, to try to take over Horizon. And Superior Spider-Man goes after Tiberius because of revenge, because it looks like all of his work is going to be claimed by Alchem, and Otto is a very arrogant person, and he goes after Stone, but fortunately Spider-Man 2099 arrives and is able to save Stone from the Superior Spider-Man's wrath. And also during this story arc, Otto is really having a hard time now trying to balance his life as Spider-Man and also his life as Peter Parker, because it feels like he's losing, because with the whole takeover of Horizon, he's starting to lose control over, because Otto's starting to lose all the good work that he did as Peter Parker. He won't get any recognition. It'll all go to Alchem, so he's just really upset about that. And when he starts taking some of his equipment off the site, Max tells him that he shouldn't be doing this, and if he does this, then he's fired. So basically, it's not certain, but looks like Otto just lost Peter's job. And again. And like I said, I think right now it is good. The story arc is pretty good because we're finally seeing where Otto is starting to fail. He's pretty much doing a good job as Spider-Man, but balancing the whole secret identity between Peter Parker and Spider-Man, not so much. I mean, it feels like the Superior Spider-Man is an inferior Peter Parker. Yeah, that was a bad pun. But there are a few flaws in the story, like the Spider-Man 2099. Basically, I feel like he's shoved to the background a little bit. Also, time travel, that can get confusing for some people. I know some people aren't really big fans of time travel because it can get a little confusing with the paradoxes and everything. And yeah, basically in this story arc, Otto really is starting to look more and more like a jerk. And because part 2, it ends with Spider-Man 2099 going back because in order to help prove that Stone is responsible for leaking the information, Grady uses the time door again to try to get evidence, to collect evidence that Stone is responsible for sabotaging Horizon Labs experiments. And when he does, and apparently Grady's Time Door again is acting up, and so Spider-Man 2099 shows up and he says, "Look, I know how we can stop this because that's going to lead to the destruction of Horizon Labs, not the marketing destruction, but like the actual boom destruction." And so basically, right when 2099 shows up and says, "Look, this is what we need to do," Superior shows up and punches him out, and that's where the issue ends. So, yeah. Yeah, like I said, this was a good story. I mean, I do like the Superior Spider-Man. It's one of my favorite Marvel titles, but with this story arc, I feel like Spider-Man 2099, he's just kind of there, and he's just kind of like shoved into like a B-level character, really. If you expect this to be like a sequel to, say, Spider-Man when Peter Parker met Miles Morales, no, this is not like that. It's not like they're equals at all. It's more like they are like butting heads. I think this cover pretty much shows what it's pretty much going to be like. Also, I really do like this cover. And yeah, so that's my number 5 pick, Superior Spider-Man. I would say get it if you've been reading Superior Spider-Man, but if you're thinking about getting this just for Spider-Man 2099, then you should pass on it. Okay, next up, number 4, Daredevil, number 31. Daredevil right now is the underdog of Marvel Comics. When I say underdog, I mean this is a series that is great. Everyone who's been reading this has been loving it, and I still don't think a lot of people know about it because, well, it's Daredevil. He's one of the B-level sticks to just street crime superheroes, and that's a shame because Daredevil is awesome, and Mark Waid, ever since he relaunched this series with number 1, he's been doing a superior job on it. I mean, it's awesome. In this issue, Daredevil pretty much has to stop the Sons of the Serpent's latest scheme, which is they've hired the Jester to interfere with a broadcast after a trial where the Jester pretty much showed the DA showing the names and addresses of all 12 people on the jury that acquitted this murderer. And so pretty much now Daredevil has to go and stop the Jester and find the Jester, bring him to justice, while at the same time he has Hank Pym, who, by the way, Hank Pym is really starting to become a great supporting character in the Daredevil comic. Anyways, Hank Pym try to help stop the riots, and Hank does it by sending out swarms of bees. And the last page, and pretty much when Daredevil goes to the place where he thinks Jester's located, the last page on this issue, man, it freaked me out. It was like, I was just like, when I read it, my eyes widened, and I was like, oh God, please don't tell me this is what I think it is. I really hope it's not what I think it is. I don't want to talk about the last page because it's such a big spoiler. Oh man. But Daredevil, I have been loving this series a lot. When it first came out, a lot of people were like, "Yeah, Daredevil's awesome." I'm like, yeah, sure. Then I read the first trade. It really was great. Daredevil, seriously, this series cannot get enough love right now. It's one of the best Marvel titles out there. Yeah, so I'd say definitely get Daredevil. It's awesome, and oh yeah, this series is only at $2.99, which is saying something. So yeah, cost effective. Still, number 4 pick. Daredevil. Alright, moving on. We have probably the only DC comic that is not a villain taking over an ongoing series. Forever Evil, number 1. Alright, this kicks off the event known as Forever Evil. The crime syndicate has taken over. They've gathered the supervillains at the wreckage of the Lost Tower. They've showed them, they've pretty much declared the Justice League is dead. Their proof, they throw to the crowd Aquaman's trident, which was taken by Black Manta a few minutes later, Wonder Woman's lasso, and Superman's cape. And they've also captured another hero on this earth, everyone's favorite B-list hero, Dick Grayson, Nightwing. And of course they reveal, but what's the crime syndicate do with Nightwing in front of the crowd of supervillains? They reveal his secret identity as Dick Grayson. And so pretty much now Dick's private life is pretty much all across now public knowledge, I guess. And while this is going on, Lex Luthor, who after had a close encounter with Ultraman, basically Ultraman broke into Luthor's skyscraper and stole some kryptonite because that's how he gets his powers. And also later Ultraman Ultraman moved the moon in front of the sun because the sun hurts him apparently, and blocks out the sun, causing the tides that we saw in Black Manta #1. And pretty much at the end of the issue, Lex Luthor is left standing there, hearing the Crime Syndicate's announcement, and with and the reveal of Dick Grayson. He says to himself, "This looks like a job for Superman. So where the hell is he?" And that's where the issue ends. Forever Evil. Wow. Seriously, Jeff Johns. This is written by Jeff Johns. And this guy does know, and Johns knows big events. Okay, I mean, Blackest Night, Trinity War, all of that was great. So I hope he can do this again with Forever Evil, because I like this first issue. I like how he wrote Lex Luthor. The way Lex Luthor is in this issue, like at the very beginning when he's trying to get Corden Industries, the way he's kind of like sort of mildly threatening the owner of it, it's just amazing. And I mean, you really know that you can tell that, yeah, Lex Luthor is a bad guy. He's willing to do whatever he wants, and right now it looks like Luthor is going to be the one who has to try to get rid of the Crime Syndicate. So obviously Luthor will be like a anti-protagonist in a way. So yeah, and also I like how they definitely made sure that the Crime Syndicate is not just an evil Justice League. They pretty much set them apart with the way Ultraman was in this book, because, like I said, he needs kryptonite to get his superpowers, and also he hates the sun, unlike Superman, who gets his strength from the sun, and kryptonite kills him. In fact, I like the way they kind of made that message clear in this book, was that Ultraman, once he gets the kryptonite, he breaks it down into dust and then sniffs it like it's cocaine, and he's like, "Ah, the strongest in the world!" and takes off and then moves to the moon and stuff. But yeah, seriously, Forever Evil #1. Wow, I was skeptical about this event. I really wasn't, looking forward to it, but I decided to get the first issue anyway, because I thought, okay, maybe I'll give the first issue a try, since we are going to be since I was going to get the Villains Month issues. And wow, seriously, this was a great first issue, really making me look forward to the rest of Forever Evil. I hope it turns out just as good as Blackest Night did, because, like I said, Jeff Johns, he does know how to write a good big event. Okay, next up we have X-Men Battle of the Atom. That's right, I read the entire first half of X-Men Battle for the Atom. I'll post a list of which issues these are in the description. Pretty much, Battle for the Atom, it deals with the consequences of we finally get a story arc that deals with the consequences of the original 5 X-Men being in the present. That was something that, Bendis, when pretty much Marvel Now started, Brian Michael Bendis started the series All New X-Men, which had Beast going back in time and bringing the young original 5 X-Men to the future so that they can see what's happening, hopefully to change it. And of course, people were all and of course, almost the X-Men were pretty much divided. Like, oh no, they should probably stay, and also, oh no, they can't stay here. It's going to really screw up the timeline. And of course, this story, and with Battle for the Atom, we have a group of X-Men from the future who show up and say, yeah, them being here, not good, really not good. So yeah, of course, do the original X-Men instantly agree? No, they don't. Jean Grey and Scott Summers pretty much take off from the Jean Grey school. Of course, go on the run until finally they're confronted by Wolverine and the other X-Men, until ultimately they try to seek help from Cyclops' side. But a side battle between young Jean Grey and a member of the future X-Men, Zorn, who is apparently, and okay, big spoiler here, but I'm not going to say who it is, but when Jean reads Zorn's mind and sees what exactly makes this future possible and what it has to do with them, she gets so freaked out, she tells Scott that, no, we can't do this, we have to go back immediately. Because the thing about it is, if you've been reading All New X-Men, you know that Jean was the first one who wants to stay. I mean, I really think she's the one who really wants to stay the most in the present and make a difference, because she knows she's going to die twice. So obviously the future must really be screwed up if what she saw is ultimately able to convince her to go back. And also the first half of the story ends with Magic going to the Jean Grey school and convincing Bobby Drake, young Iceman, and young Hank McCoy to travel into the future with her to see how it is. And when they go to the future, right after Jean and Scott decide to go back make the decision to go back in the past, they see that the future is different and it actually looks a little brighter. So, yeah, time travel again. Yeah, so like I said, this story arc will obviously be dealing with the consequences of Beast's actions in bringing the original X-Men to the present. So that's obviously something that was built up. This is something that original X-Men has kind of been building to. Also, unfortunately though, this does involve time travel. So if time travel really isn't your thing, like something you don't like in a story because it can get confusing, you may want to pass on this. Also, this story arc does kind of have the same feeling to Days of Futures Past, which I think is great because that movie's coming out in May. Can't wait to see that. Yeah, I would say Battle of the Atom. Well, I mean, I like the pacing of this. I mean, already in 1 month we're halfway through the story. Only downside is that you have to buy pretty much every X-Men title. We've got the Battle of the Atom special, then we have all new X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and Wolverine and the X-Men. So, if you can't afford it, then I would say get Battle of the Atom now. Otherwise, just wait for the trade. But nevertheless, Battle for the Atom, it's great. This is pretty much how we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the X-Men. Seriously, I can't wait to read the second half in October. This seems like a very great story arc. Honestly, I do like what Bendis is doing with the original X-Men and how we're finally getting to a story arc that shows the consequences of them being here. Right. And my number one pick for September 2013 is Mighty Avengers #1. Okay, Mighty Avengers #1. This is a new Avengers team. Yes, it does tie into Infinity in a way. I would say it just kind of uses Infinity as a frame device to help get the team together. Pretty much, it starts off with Luke Cage having a new Heroes for Hire team that consists of himself, Power Man, and White Tiger. And right when they're fighting the supervillain named the Plunderer, the superior SpiderMan shows up. And after the fight, he kind of compares them to mercenaries, says that what they do, being heroes for money, isn't really heroism, and that causes White Tiger to quit. And so then Luke Cage and Power Man are talking while having coffee, and Luke says that something Spider-Man said may have been right, that maybe we should be doing more than just this for money, and that gets Power Man upset, and Luke tells him wait, hear me out for a minute. Then Power Man doesn't listen and just walks out. Then suddenly Times Square is attacked by one of Thanos' soldiers, Proxima, who's leading a fleet of Thanos' army to attack Earth since all the Avengers are gone. So pretty much Luke Cage, Spider-Man, and Monica Rambeau, who's now going by the codename Spectrum, and a friend of Monica's who we don't see at all. His face is pretty much obscured throughout the entire issue until he wears like a knockoff Spider-Man costume that's like really crazy, and it says Spider Hero on it. All four of them go to Times Square. They meet up, and when Spider-Man sees the Spider Hero, he's like, "Take that off immediately!" So that pisses him off, which is fun. And pretty much they deal with Thanos' army, and right when Proxima says something like, this Earth has no Avengers, Luke says, "Look around, lady, we are the Avengers." And that's pretty much how the issue ends. To be honest, I liked this. I really did like this issue a lot. I thought it was for one thing, this is an Avengers title that isn't written by Hickman, so it's a lot more For one thing, it's grounded. This is about pretty much, these are the Avengers who are actually defending the Earth, while the main Avengers and new Avengers are off in space fighting the Builders and Thanos and stuff. They're pretty much the guys who are stuck on Earth. Well, not really they're stuck on Earth, but they're actually defending the planet, which is great. And obviously, if you're a fan of Luke Cage or Monica Rambeau, I would definitely say get this issue out. Also it has Power Man, White Tiger, and I think later we are supposed to get Blue Marvel and She-Hulk on the team too, and I think the Spider Hero guy in this issue later becomes the new Ronin. So yeah, Blue Marvel are confirmed. I don't know about Ronin. I just saw the My Avengers 4 cover with Ronin breaking the Spider Hero mask, so yeah, that's just an assumption I have. So Mighty Avengers #1, definitely a great start to a new Avengers team. If you want Avengers that are more grounded, that are more, say, at home on Earth, I would say get this book, because I think that's the feeling that we're going to get with this title, is that it's more grounded, it's focused more on like helping people on Earth rather than going off into space. And also if you're a fan, if you miss Luke Cage or Monica Rambeau, any of these characters, then I would say give this first issue a shot. But I loved it. It was a new Avengers title. I enjoyed it. I really liked the first issue, and I really look forward to the rest of it. Okay, yeah, so that's it for my first monthly review for comics, my top 5 for September 2013. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, SpiderMan 1991, saying see you later.